lot of people don't really know about, and I think they're kind of underappreciated. But the rotary machines that were made by the White Corporation, the White Sewing Machine Company, back in the day also had the rotary style hook. And they are amazing machines. Now, when you see this, you'll see the name Kenmore. Of course, Kenmore didn't make machines. This was Sears went to, in this case, the White Manufacturing Company. And the White Company built, for over a half century, they built a machine that they had perfected the design of. It was their straight stitch rotary machine. And like I say, a half century, they didn't really change the mechanics of it because it worked really well. Singer tended to come out constantly with new models, and they made some wonderful machines. But the White Company had this machine for sale under the name White, Kenmore, Franklin, Domestic, and Dressmaster. So you'll sometimes see different names. The body styling will vary. Sometimes the color will vary. All of the machines come in this crinkle finish, and they're in dark colors because there was a theory that you could get less glare coming at your eyes when you were sewing. Now, a lot of people sew with high gloss finish machines and they're fine. But you know, this was a rationale for making this. Singer also used crinkle finish on some of their machines as well. So, what are the strengths of this machine? This machine is unique, and you'll see this in one of the photos I'll try to post so you can see this. But this machine does not use a belt with its motor. It does not use a gear drive. It actually uses what's called a pulley drive. It has a rubber wheel pulley that attaches to the hand wheel and gives an incredible amount of power and torque. So these machines are quite powerful. I'm going to show you guys a variety of stitches that it can make today, or a variety of fabrics that I'm going to stitch on. You can sew lightweight, garment weight clothing or clothing with this. You can sew heavier stuff like slip covers, upholstery, and you can even do garment leather with this. So it's a very powerful machine, and they're wonderfully simple. They are not difficult to find parts for. I love working on them, and again, this is something I've been working on machines for years, going on 7 years now. And about a year ago, I started to experiment and sort of learn more about these rotary machines because, again, they're sort of the underdog in a way. They're not always appreciated. And you'll see this when I price the machines. They're not priced as high as the Singers, but there's not a difference in quality. It's really about what your needs are in sewing machines. So again, all steel, all metal. This particular model is semi-rare. These machines were made in large numbers. This one was made in slightly smaller numbers. It was made in 1942 during World War II, and it was one of the only sewing machines you could get. It was hard to get a lot of consumer items during the war because they were making war armaments. All sorts of production went toward the war effort, and you couldn't get a lot of things for the home. A lot of the Singer factories shut down. Most of the White corporations did too, but they had some that they were given permission to produce, and this is one of them. And it reminds me, in many ways, of a sort of, I don't know, it kind of looks like a 1940s airplane in a way, very streamlined, really fun design. But you're going to see me, as I start to post more, I've actually sold a White Rotary before. It had a different body style, but it's essentially the same machine. So they come in dark brown, they come in black, they come in green, but they're just amazing machines. And I think, if you've never seen one or used one, you really owe it to yourself to try them out as an alternative to some of the Singer, the wonderful Singer brand of rotary machines. So it has a light. I'm in the sunroom today, so I'm not going to use the light. And your controls are very straightforward. Bobbin winder is here on the front, wonderfully easy to use. And one of the things I've noticed is a number of these rotary machines, again, they were all made by the White Sewing Company, regardless of the nameplate that you see, is that they allow you to control the length of both your forward and reverse stitching. I'm not sure why that feature was offered. It's one of the only companies that created that in their machines. I'm not even sure how often you would use it, but it's available to you. So anyway, I'm going to start sewing with her to give you an idea. I'm going to start, as I always do, with my longest length stitch. And of course I have back tack. That's a pretty common feature with most vintage machines. You have to go back into the treadle era when you get machines that don't have reverse. But you should always check to make sure that a machine will go into reverse for you. And I'm going to actually slow down. I want to slow down so you guys can see the fact that I can slow my needle down. And I like this feature. You always want to see if that's, particularly if you're new to sewing, you may want to be able to slow this, the RPMs, if you will, down. I'm going to come back. This time I'm going to go show you can also sew fast. It's pretty fast for a vintage model machine. Then I'm going to come back over and I'm going to shorten my stitch because some of you may want to get a finer level stitch, a shorter stitch. And all it takes is just a little turn of a knob here, and I can come down and get a fine stitch grade, if you will. Now, let's see. Now, one of the things I've noticed about rotary style sewing machines is that they allow for a shorter stitch length and a finer level of what I call micro stitching than the oscillating types do. Not that they don't do a good job, but the rotaries seem to be able to do this a little bit better, a little more refined for some reason. I was going to do this video yesterday, but it got a little too dark, and I really like doing these videos here in the sunroom if I can, because it's just really nice light for showing off things like stitches. So I'm going to show this to you guys. And again, just if you look at these, you'll see the long length stitches, and then you'll see the shorter ones. And it's incredible just how short a stitch you can get. And that's a beautiful and consistent stitch. And I'll turn over on the other side. You guys can see I have a different color thread here, but whether it's long or short, again, the quality of the stitching is incredible. And I really sort of give that credit to the quality of the manufacturer, but also the rotary hook. And if any of you sew on what's called an oscillating hook, not to make you feel bad, I do too. I do my own sewing on an oscillating Singer. I don't really need a rotary, but there are a lot of people who want an artist quality stitch. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, you guys have seen me do this quite often. I use a cargo pant. You can also use pairs of old blue jeans, but what I'm trying to show here is that when you're testing a machine, you want to see how well it holds its tension when it changes density of fabric. So I've got 2 layers here of the cargo pant, and then it goes into these rolled seams, which are really dense and heavy, just like on a pair of blue jeans. And I've shown off, I was doing this with a different machine the other day, but I've got this Kenmore that I want to use. I'll use this fabric, and I've got some red thread on my bobbin, so that'll help us see the new stitches. But this is what you want to do. I'm going to go through 2 layers and a seam, and then we'll double it over. Well, before I do that, I want to go back to my long stitch. The long stitches are a little easier to show you guys the stitch quality with. Decided to move my piece of fabric here. I want to make my stitches on the outside row so that we can tell the difference between what the new row of stitches looks like. I'll show you guys so you can see. So let's see here. Here we go. I'll show you the red. The red is easier to read. against this khaki colored fabric. Right there. Yeah, let's see if I can get up close. Again, beautiful stitching. The main thing to show you here is notice that the tension holds true whether you're in this thinner area or the thick seam. The machine does not miss a beat, and that's a really important feature. You can see I've got a lighter thread on the other side, not as easy to see, but now I'm going to double this. I'm going to double the cargo pant, so we will challenge the machine to take on more. And, you know, a machine should be able to do something like this. This way, if any of you are going to sew, maybe you're going to sew upholstery, maybe you're going to sew slip covers for a piece of furniture, you know, you can do it because upholstery fabric is heavier and denser. You should be able to do that without worrying. And I'm just going in reverse and go all the way back. So now you can see I have got, right here, I have got 2 layers, or actually I now have 4 layers of the pant fabric, and I've got 2 of the seams. And it's just amazing. You know, let me open this, see if I can get a little bit more light on here. Here we go. And again, even by doubling the cargo pant, the tension is beautifully controlled by the machine. So that's a, let me show you the other side too. You can see the lighter colored stitches. That's a feature that is something, it's very important for a machine to be able to do for you. And a lot of the newer, cheaper machines that you can go to the store and buy, they don't even come close because they're so poorly made. So now I'm going to take garment leather. A number of people that come to me for machines, they want something heavy duty, not necessarily an industrial machine, but something strong enough to sew things like garment leather. Whenever you're sewing leather on any domestic machine, you want to make sure that it is a softer style. This is garment leather. You might make a wallet, right, out of this, or maybe some straps. But you want to make sure that it's flexible, right? If you can do this with the leather and wiggle it in your hand, you're going to be fine. It's you don't want to sew belting leather. You don't want to sew anything that is so dense that it's going to put a strain on the machine. And a lot of new machines won't sew garment leather at all, but this one is very powerful. Let's see. Sometimes you'll see videos where people really exaggerate and they'll put all sorts of strange things under a sewing machine and try to make it sew it, but I don't like that. Oops, I'm still in reverse. Let's try going this way. Here we go. I'll come back, make another run, and then show you guys how beautifully the machine cuts right through garment leather like it was nothing. Now, one thing to mention also is that you'll notice the stitches really, they turn out beautiful, right? Really strong stitches, nice and consistent. One thing that will help you, and because I'm sewing on a variety of samples here, I put in this is a size 14 fabric needle. But if you're going to sew leather, you can easily change out your needle, and I always suggest that to people because what you really want to do here is you want to put a leather tipped needle here into the machine, and it just makes the machine's job easier. But you can see this machine is so strong, even with a fabric needle, it's punching right through the garment leather. So